Lady Poverty was the ideal bride to whom Francis wanted his disciples to consecrate their lives completely. For him, poor meant having a heart free from attachment to money and the lust for power in order to devote oneself completely to God and the service of one's neighbor. When sant'Antonio preached, he invited everyone to love God, while also exhorting them to love their neighbor, a love that Jesus had placed on the same level. Indeed, there can be no conversion of the heart if fruits of justice, mercy, and solidarity are not produced. Anthony, full of compassion for the poor, had instead hard words for all those who took advantage of their social position to do injustice, such as tyrants, corrupt politicians, misers, and usurers. There is a painting in the National Gallery in London that I am particularly fond of. It is by Flemish painter Willem van Herp, who painted it in 1662. He shows St. Anthony at the entrance of a church distributing bread to the poor. You know, every night, almost every night, Anthony and his confreres, Luca, Vinotto, and Ruggero, would leave their friary with a big pot full of vegetable soup and some bread they had received in alms and had not even touched in order to leave it all to the poor, and they would go to the crumbly, dirty houses in the poorest neighborhoods of Padua, filling wooden and crock bowls with soup and offering bread to trembling, dirty hands.
Luca, come here, Anthony called to me. Give me one of those apples you have in your bag. Give it to this baby and wrap him in that piece of blanket. He is cold and crying. Please, you are young, make him smile. And then there was the toothless old lady who was not even able to eat and had to be fed. How many sores we used to cure with a yellowish ointment that the apothecary at the market gave us. We would even light a few fires to warm those poor people. There was so much to do that the night would pass in a moment.
Brother Luca Belludi, one of St. Anthony's Franciscan brothers, is buried right here in that sarcophagus under the fresco of the Madonna and Child Jesus and Franciscan saints in the chapel dedicated to him. Tradition has it that he received the habit of the Friars Minor from St. Francis himself around the age of 25 and became a priest 2 years later. His biographers claim that he attended the University of Padua before meeting Anthony, whose friend and collaborator he would become, even helping him with writing the sermons. He would be proclaimed blessed by Pope Pius XI in 1927. To love could not be for Anthony just talking about God's love. It also had to be concretely doing something for others. To love meant seeing in others a brother and a sister. It meant helping and defending the weakest, bringing peace to families, healing the sick, feeding the hungry, and with the help of Luca and the other friars in his friary convent, we can say that in Padua he succeeded. Not for nothing have many modern scholars called Anthony the first great defender of human rights. That little piece of bread he sometimes holds in his hands in some of his statues or paintings means all this. From his tomb, Anthony looks at us with love. He listens to our prayers and assures us that He will present them to God and says, listen to the teaching of Jesus. Remember that we are all sons and daughters of God, and therefore we are all brothers and sisters of each other. Try then to do good, because that is what one should do when one truly loves. Dear Saint Anthony, help me to see the face of Christ in the poor and the marginalized, and to respond to their need with sincere and concrete love. Amen.